Welcome to the Libra full moon reading. Pulled some beautiful, perfect aesthetic cards. The peony, the lavender card, and the pink opal. And for me personally, this color palette just is my heart. I am also a Libra moon, so I'm feeling this vibe a lot, and I'm really excited to get myself a little done up and make this video and ride this Libra wave and feel these cards and feel these colors and take that energy and move it forward into the rest of whatever the hell this year is going to be. Yeah. But anyways, we've got the peony card, which I'll talk about first. This beautiful little card here. I love this color. And so these peonies, they have these kind of pillowy, soft flower petals, and they're usually a muted or like a dusty color, a pink and orange, white, things like that. Spring colors, these spring vibes, and so they can flower up to 100 years, maybe a little bit more. So every spring they're bringing that new energy, but it's that sustained energy. And this card is akin to the Lover's card in the tarot deck, but this Lover's card is not about being in love necessarily, or romantic love, things like that. This is more the deep love, like divine union type love. Like you are committed to loving yourself, loving the God presence inside of yourself, finding that and attuning yourself to the spirits and or whatever power it is, whatever outside of yourself that you devote yourself to, attuning yourself to that is important, and tapping into that, because that is a way to help get energy through you, to help clear things through you. We're all working on ancestral trauma. We're all working on trauma in our current lives. We need this soft vibrance and this knowing that we're going to keep coming through this. Like every winter has its spring. There is always change in the way things happen. So this card is wanting to give us a way to move through this alone time by really realizing that we are actually so connected to everybody and everything. And we can take this opportunity of being forced to be alone or alone more and utilize that to know ourselves and to know the connectedness of our bodies, our spirit, and how ultimately the internet is just a very basic physical realm human attempt to reconstitute telepathy. And I think the Akashic records, things like this, the way that we have the ability to tap into knowing everything, and how so often different geniuses just know things because everything to know is available to all of us. Just as we utilize the internet and it has all of the information, but there's still a lot of human things that happen in the internet that we get locked into filter bubbles. Look that up if you don't know what that is. And that you aren't able to see the broad spectrum of picture, or you're not able to tell what is true and what is false. But if you know yourself, if you're tapped into your intuition, you're tapped in with your spirit guides, you're tapped in with the union of the connectivity to all things, you can know the truth. You can know what's true for you, and you can know what works for you, and you can really listen to your body, and you can take empowerment through that. So this Lover's card is asking for a broader spectrum of understanding in connectedness, understanding that the reason why we're globally quarantined is because viruses now affect us globally because we are a globalized society. So we are all being forced to understand that we are connected, whether you want to be or not. We are connected. What are we going to do with that? How are we going to take care of ourselves in this moment so that we can make it through the inevitable, even harder moments? Because just because some of us maybe aren't dealing with how harsh it has been for some people in the world, look at Black people all over the world. Anti-Blackness is worldwide. And so we are dealing with problems on a global scale now, and we have to orient ourselves to that. And interestingly enough, the best way to orient yourself to that is to get really, really deep in knowledge of yourself. So take this flower. Maybe if you want to get more information on it, look up the symbolism of peonies and let that settle into you. Then we have lavender, another flower. One of my favorites, obviously. Calming, this beautiful scent that can really remind us of how to relax into our situation. It's interesting also because below this card it says me, myself, and I. What do you have to deal with in a quarantine? Me, myself, and I. That's all we got. We can connect with other people. It's a beautiful thing that some of us still have the ability to connect with other people. Some of us, like me, I live in a collective, so I'm with a bunch of people all the time. But still, I'm spending majority of my time alone. And in spending this time by myself, it's just bringing it back to that other lesson from the Lover's card or the Peonies card, that we have to really know ourselves. We have to settle into ourselves. We have to become grounded into ourselves. Lavenders in general also, I have a lavender here. This is my lavender friend. French lavender. It doesn't have any buds yet, but we're working on it. But the thing about lavenders is they like to get really, really dry. They're drought tolerant plants. And so think about that as like allowing, because wet equals emotional realm equals subconscious realm, if you want to go in there. And so to allow ourselves to process emotions and allow ourselves to dry out in whatever way, like allow ourselves to feel and feel and feel, and then we can dry out. And when we dry out, we can find a little bit of calm in ourselves because we allowed ourselves to feel our emotions. And so lavender card, lavender flower, wants to bring us into this calming space where we can allow the emotions to process and we can still be okay even if we dry out. And then when we get some water, we get some blooms, that beautiful scent, that calming scent. Just think about all of this lavender stuff and think about how it makes you feel. And also it's a third eye chakra card, so it's very much about how you're perceiving things, what you are allowing to not be coincidence. Like synchronicity and coincidence could be the same thing, but to me, there are no coincidences. To me, everything that I notice, everything that happens is important and is to be understood and is furthermore a message from my spirits to me to be deciphered. So if you go through life believing that everything is important and everything is notable, everything is more important in your life. And then you're able to feel a little bit more connected to spirit, feel a little bit more connected to yourself and your surroundings and the people that you want to be connected with. And then you get to feel what feels better for you, what doesn't feel good for you. Getting really in tune with yourself, not really any other option at this point. So I hope that everybody is finding their way through that semi-comfortably. Libra Moon just wants to just take everybody in and just be like, what do we need to do to be comfortable? How can we make our spaces more beautiful and comforting for us so that we can have time to think about the things that we want to, because it's an air sign, so it's very much about processing things with our logic and with our mind, our rationality. So anyways, moving on to the pink opal card. I love this card because it's opal is one of the notable birthstones of Libra as a sign, and it's this really beautiful prismatic stone. Like, I actually have one right here, but it's gonna be kind of hard to see, but this is a pink opal, and it's really beautiful. And also opals either are formed or like can only exist before they get treated in some way. They exist in water, so this stone has to do also with that water element and bringing in the emotional realm, because there is an aspect of Libra that is logically processing things, and we need to get down into our emotions and allow ourselves to have emotions and not just be thinking about what another person's emotions are and how we can mitigate their emotions so that we can keep ourselves comfortable. That's a very Libra trait. We need to focus on ourselves, focus on our hearts, focus on what feels good, what we are attracted to, what we are repelled from. That is what our heart tells us. And we can, if we get into a space where we really feel into our bodies, we can feel okay with making those choices, with being really succinct, with understanding what feels good, what doesn't feel good, how we can move in the right directions for ourselves, because we are moving away from a situation where we were being inundated and told by a capitalist system what we had to do. We had no choice around that. Now, the juggernaut that is capitalism has ground to a halt. And we're like, what do we do? All of our lives, for several generations before us, all we have known is this intense, brutal, murderous capitalism. And we have an opportunity to see things differently. And there's a lot of people that are fighting in a lot of ways to keep us seeing things the same. But we have to release the guilt. We have to release the shame that we have around tending to ourselves and tending to our hearts and our beings and knowing what is right for us and empowering ourselves. We have to take this opportunity to sit in our hearts and to feel into our hearts and into what is going to be best for us as we move forward into who knows whatever we're moving forward into. It's hard to say. It's impossible to say, actually. And it's not actually, the future is not what we need to focus on right now. The now is what we need to focus on. We need to focus on how we are taking care of ourselves so we're setting ourselves up to be in a better position in the future. We don't have to plan for the future. We just have to know that the future is going to happen, and we have to take the best possible care of ourselves right now in a soft, beautiful, caring, emotionally empathetic way. Because this is hitting differently for every single person, and nobody that I know of has been through this severe of a pandemic. I mean, global pandemic. I don't know that this is unprecedented. So be soft, be gentle with yourselves, and I'll see you next time.